Imagine you could just drop into a video call with some of history's greatest philosophers. And they're not talking about ancient history. They're debating today's biggest problems. Well, that's the wild premise behind Nexum, a really fascinating new literary format from Alfred Batlle Fuster that's trying to completely reinvent philosophical dialogue for our digital world. I mean, just really picture that for a second. Socrates and Nietzsche going back and forth about artificial intelligence. This isn't just some fun little thought experiment, you know? It's the actual format of the Nexum series. It stages these debates as if they're happening right now, on a screen, well, just like the one you're looking at. So how does this whole thing actually work? Well, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll define what Nexum is, and then we're going to put it head-to-head with some other major thinkers. You'll see pretty quickly just how different this is from the kind of philosophy you might be used to. All right, first up, let's nail down the core concept. And to do that, you've got to forget about traditional books or dense essays. Nexum is built around a format we've all become, let's say, very familiar with lately, the video conference. Okay, pay close attention to that last part. It dramatizes the act of philosophizing. This is so important. Nexum isn't just laying out arguments on a page, it's actually staging them, like a live performance. You're not just reading a neat and tidy conclusion, you are witnessing the messy, dynamic, and unpredictable process of thinking happen in real time, interruptions and all. To get an even better handle on this, let's compare it to a book that a lot of us probably know, Jostein Gaarder's Sophie's World. Now, both of them are trying to make philosophy more accessible, but their methods? They could not be more different. You see, Sophie's World gently guides you through the history of philosophy like you're in a structured class. It's a wonderful lesson. But Nexum, it just throws you right into the deep end of a live debate. You're no longer a student following a syllabus, you're more like a fly on the wall in the middle of an intense intellectual brawl. And this right here, this quote captures that difference perfectly. Gaarder turns philosophy into a story that you follow along with. Nexum turns it into a live event that you experience as it happens. And that one shift from story to event completely changes how you engage with all the ideas. All right, let's move on to our next comparison. If Gaarder is all about accessible storytelling, then Umberto Eco, the author of The Name of the Rose, is famous for building these dense, brilliant, intellectual labyrinths. Eco's work is just a masterpiece of complexity, right? He builds these incredible intellectual cathedrals that are saturated with signs and hidden references. And your job as the reader is to interpret it all, to decipher it. Nexum does the complete opposite. It aims for formal simplicity to achieve this intense concentration of ideas. The goal isn't to get lost in interpretation, but to force you to take a position to respond to a direct clash of thought. So here's the crucial difference in a nutshell. Reading Eco feels like you're navigating a dense, beautiful, complicated labyrinth. The fun is in getting lost and finding your own way out. But reading Nexum is like stepping into a boxing ring. The challenge is to face the ideas as they collide, head on. Now we're getting to the real philosophical heart of Nexum. And to truly grasp it, we have to talk about the master of infinity and paradox himself, Jorge Luis Borges. Okay, so at the very core of Nexum is this concept called infinitesimal eternity. It sounds complicated, I know, but think of it like this. It's about finding the entire universe packed into a single intense moment. It's not about contemplating some forever that stretches out endlessly in front of you, but about experiencing the total fullness of forever right here, right now. Borges presents the infinite as this beautiful but kind of paralyzing paradox. It's something you can think about, but you can never truly live in it. What Nexum does, which is so clever, is it transforms that paradox into a practice. It takes that same dizzying idea of infinity and says, hey, you can actually use this. It shifts it from being a literary enigma into a practical, ethical tool for living with real intensity in the now. So, what on earth does a lofty idea like infinitesimal eternity have to do with our actual everyday lives? Well, it's proposed as a kind of antidote to a feeling we all know way too well, burnout. And to really understand that connection, we need to look at the work of the philosopher Byung-Chul Han. Han argues that we're living in what he calls a society of tiredness. We're driven by self-exploitation and this constant pressure to perform. Our attention is totally fragmented by digital noise, and we've lost the rituals that used to give our lives meaning. This is the crisis that Nexum is directly responding to. And this is where we see the crucial difference in their approaches. Han gives us this brilliant, if pretty sobering diagnosis of our digital burnout. But Nexum tries to be the cure. It doesn't just describe the problem. It actively creates a new kind of ritual for thinking, right inside the very digital spaces that are causing our attention to fragment in the first place. Okay, let's bring all these different threads together. We've seen how Nexum stacks up against storytelling, intellectual puzzles, metaphysical paradoxes, and even modern social critique. So, what is it exactly? Well, in the end, Nexum is kind of all of these things. It's a performance, not a novel. It treats philosophy like a live, unpredictable event. You could even see it as a modern update to the classic Socratic method. It's trying to forge a new ritual for thinking in an age that desperately needs one, a direct response to all the digital noise surrounding us. If you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Nexum wants to fundamentally shift what we think a book can even be. It's not some static object you just read. It's a live event that you witness. It's philosophy as a performance. And that's really the big question Nexum leaves us with. In a world that is just saturated with distraction, where deep focus feels harder and harder to come by, could staging thought as a live, confrontational, digital event actually be the way we revive meaningful dialogue? I mean, is this what the future of thinking looks like?